Hello, everybody. I'd like to start off by thanking everyone who made this trip possible. Without the help of our community, as well as teachers and staff who aided in the success of this pilgrimage, we wouldn't have had such an amazing experience. The beginning of this trip started with an 8-hour bus ride that really set the tone for the weekend. By the time we got to our hotel, I couldn't wait for what was next. The positive energy was truly contagious, and we were all just so happy to be there together. We visited monuments and learned about our country's history, and we did so together in prayer, making it all an enjoyable experience. With that being said, the march was the following day. I left my hotel room with excitement and anticipation for what the day had in store for us. We arrived at the rally, and straight off of the bus, I stepped into a puddle of freezing cold slush. It was too early in the day to be bothered, so I decided I wouldn't let my freezing cold boots taint my experience with my class. We stood and listened to numerous pro-life speakers give their speeches and presentations, educating the thousands of us in the audience on abortion, and many giving their own personal testimonies. This was a valuable moment to really listen and understand the purpose of why we were gathered, except we listened in the cold with my wet feet, cold shoes, and cold hands for 2 hours. I was trying my best to be positive, but by the time the march began, the mental battle I was fighting to remember why I was there was completely lost. I couldn't understand what me walking around the Capitol was doing for the injustices of abortion. All I could think about was the warm bed I could have been at home. I had completely forgotten the whole purpose of the trip. Because I had such an amazing first day in DC, I had accepted that this would just be my least favorite part of the trip. I had thought that the march could just be my least favorite part because of the extreme discomfort I was feeling. Until I felt someone grab my arm. I turned around, and greeting me with the most beautiful smile ear to ear was a young boy with Down syndrome. Here I had just felt complete love and happiness pouring out of this young boy's heart. He had chose me. He had grabbed me out of the entire herd of people. And if you can imagine, we had lost a portion of our group, so we were walking in a chain, each holding each other arm in arm. And this boy was stationary, and I was at the end of the chain. He could have grabbed anyone's arm and held anyone's arm, but it's like God had placed him there in that moment to choose me out of everyone, to remind me why I was there. I had truly saw God in that boy. The way I was feeling so miserable because of the cold, and he's in the same conditions as me, smiling as if he had just won $1 million. I smiled back, said hi to him and his mom, and continued forward to find our group. This moment easily became my most moving part of the trip, and the march became the highlight of my whole experience, simply because of this young boy. He had shown me the significance of everyone's value and dignity because his smile completely shifted my mindset and mood that day. To think that 60 to 90% of children diagnosed with Down syndrome are aborted is heartbreaking. According to the United States Congress Joint Economic Committee, the statistic is only growing. The innocence and purity in that boy's heart was moving, and no one should have the option to take that away from him. The way my heart and mind was changed that day, in that moment, is unforgettable, and I pray that you all have an experience like this one day that really speaks to you and shows you God's grace the way this boy showed me.